The number one way to reduce turnover is to stop promoting people into failure. Often, strong individual contributors are promoted because they're great at the work. So great, we put them right to work to lead others in doing the work. We do more believing they can than training them how. That's why my Emerging Leaders program builds confident, capable leaders across 4 essential competencies: knowing themselves, connecting with others, leading the work, and developing their people. Leadership development does not happen in a classroom. And that is why this program ensures the participant owns their own growth. Their supervisor reinforces the learning every day in a guided process, and the skip level leader ensures alignment and accountability with intention and structure. The result are leaders who are less reactive, more strategic, and better equipped to build capability in others. Are you ready to build your leadership bench? Let's talk. Go to CoachCora.com for more information and to schedule a complimentary discovery call. Let's reduce that turnover.
Welcome to the People Playbook, where real people bring real workplace questions, and Coach Cora helps coach through the challenges leaders face every day. From hiring and communication to accountability, trust, team dynamics, and difficult conversations. This is where leadership gets practical, honest, and human. Real people, real questions, real coaching. Now, here's Coach Cora with the People Playbook.
Welcome to the People Playbook. I'm Coach Cora, and today we are stepping into real people, real questions, and real coaching. Live coaching sessions right here on the People Playbook. Leadership does not usually happen in perfect case studies. It happens in real moments. The hard conversations, the hiring decision, the team frustration, the trust issue, or the question every leader often asks, what do I do next? And that's where just-in-time coaching comes in. And this is my wheelhouse and my trademark. This is not a formal private coaching engagement or a structured section under a specific coaching standard. This is practical, in-the-moment coaching, a focused conversation that helps someone pause, name what is really happening, and find a clear next step. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Because if one person is asking the question, there are others who need the answer. So let's get into today's question right here at 9:30 a.m. The Answer on the People Playbook. My guest today is Dawn Cunningham. She is an HR professional and leader of volunteer groups. And she is bringing a question that so many professionals can relate to. What are some tips and tricks for sharing ideas with others in a way that does not build walls, but instead creates bridges? And that is such an important question because having a good idea is only part of the challenge. The way we introduce that idea, the timing, the tone, the words, and the way we invite others into the conversation can determine whether people lean in or shut down. And sometimes, even when our intentions are good, our delivery unintentionally creates resistance. Not because the idea was bad or wrong, but because people may feel dismissed, corrected, surprised, not a part of the solution. So today, Dawn and I are going to coach through how to share ideas in a way that keeps people open, engaged, and willing to collaborate. Using a just-in-time coaching approach, we'll slow the moment down, look at what may be happening underneath the reaction, and identify practical ways to communicate ideas with clarity, respect, and connection. Dawn, welcome to the People Playbook.
Hi, Cora. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be part of this series of yours.
Oh my gosh, I am so glad. And I'm grateful that you brought this question because knowing how to build bridges with our ideas is one of the most valuable skills any leader professional can have. I think it's an important question, so thank you. To get us started, can you share a little bit of the context? You came in and said, this is a challenge I have. So give us a context of when that has been a challenge for you. What does that look like?
Absolutely. So as a longtime HR professional and volunteer leader, part of my job is to communicate in a way that is very clear and also convincing based on the receiving party, based on my credibility.
Absolutely.
So in HR, credibility is very, very important. However, some leaders, mostly, I find myself coaching a lot of leaders at various stages of their experience. So they're coming to me with a challenge, and I have lots of tools in my toolbox.
Right.
So I am explaining to them what they might consider, what they might try, and also helping to keep them in compliance with policies, procedures, law, employment law. And so for the most part, I'm confident in the information that I'm sharing. A lot of it is spontaneous. So I don't have a whole lot of time to collect my thoughts. It's sort of off the cuff, but most of the time I feel comfortable. But sometimes I struggle, like, am I saying enough? Am I saying too much?
Yeah.
Is it getting through to them?
Because sometimes it's things they don't want to hear too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I resonate with this quite a bit. And I will share, years ago, I had a leader who sat me down and said, Cora, it's so important that I was an org dev professional in an organization. It's so important that the leaders of our organization hear your ideas and hear what you're seeing and hear about your solutions. The challenge is when you walk in and sit down to that executive table, oftentimes you piss people off. And that's not helpful.
No.
And I was like, he says, I love that you're direct, but you have to work on your communication and your influence. And getting that feedback was amazingly helpful for me. And I had to learn a lot of these things that we're going to talk about today. Like, how do I just change how I approach the topic so that people can hear, right?
Yes.
Because to your point, sometimes they may have emotions, they're frustrated, or they just don't want to hear your solutions. They've already decided what they want to do.
Exactly.
Right? So let's kind of jump in first. One of the things you said is this will happen sometimes, not in a conversation that you're able to plan for and get your head around. How do I want to walk in here? Right?
Yes.
And so if I don't have that time to get my own head around it, and I have somebody sitting here, like I have this situation, and now I know I have a tool, like you said. What have you done in the past to maybe just level set? What do we want to happen from this meeting? And asking that. Have you done that in the past?
Yes. So first off, I hear them out. I listen to what the situation is and gather as much information as I can regarding what's happening. Then I start asking questions that pique my interest or are very important to the solution or the next step.
Sure.
And then I put it together in a framework of what's the policies, procedures, what have we done before? Are we setting a precedence? Is there a history? Often it's regarding an employee.
Sure.
Was there already a history with the same issue? That sort of things.
And I wonder if a lot of that, it's so common. I'm asking questions, probing questions, right? I'm gathering information while I'm constructing the solution, right? What part did they have in that thought process?
Well, as I ask questions, I could see them start to think about where I'm going. I do see that. Or else they wouldn't have come to me. They're receptive enough to come to me, and now they want to listen. So I do at least see that. But it is, like you said, a bit of we're fixing the plane while we're flying.
Sure.
Because there's an issue.
So when we hear them out, and then you go into asking questions for more information, what happens? Have you tried just pausing before you start to get into solutions and doing that? I understand the situation. I understand this is frustrating. What would be your best outcome here and why? Those kind of questions that are level setting. What are we trying to accomplish? Because as we're asking more probing questions, it might be specific. Because oftentimes, people come, I want them out of here, right? Or I want to write, or whatever. They want something. And so if we can just get that out and say, do we agree that this is what you want? Because then you can level set before you even get to solutions and say, there's a lot of questions. And so I'm curious if you've asked these questions before, or if they've happened, or if you can imagine. Saying something to the extent of, if what you're asking is, hypothetically, this person's out, what would you be willing to accept if that wasn't the end solution? Is there any other amenable solution for you?
Yeah, that's good. I don't really do that as a rule when they're coming to me. I don't say, well, what outcome do you want? Either because they say it, they say,
right.
That's it, I'm done. I'm done. I want them out. I want them fired, whatever. Right. Or they're just open to whatever. And so I'm still in brainstorming mode. I don't get to right to, well, what's the end? Let's reverse engineer it.
Right.
To get to the...
So that our brainstorming is driving. And I would offer that sometimes people come in, especially HR, they walk in with an emotional approach. This happened. Yes. That's why you have to listen, right?
Right.
And I want...
And calm them down off the ledge.
And so that's what some of those purpose-driven questions are about. I understand you're frustrated. I understand you're at the end of the road. At the end of the day, what do we hope to accomplish from today's conversation? And what does the solution look like? What will it accomplish? Now we're trying to get away from the person and their feelings. To your point, you can see them start to think. We're wanting to get them into a critical thinking mindset, not an emotional one. Because irrational state of minds don't create rational solutions.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. They're too emotional.
100%. And they're going to be making responses and decisions and building resistance. I want this. And what we want them to do is think, what is the impact? What could we do? What can we not do? What's acceptable? What's not acceptable? And kind of getting out of this person did that. And as a leader who leads people, what do we want to do in a situation where we have poor performance?
Right.
What does that look like? And what steps have we taken? What steps do we need to take? And asking them those questions. Because the emotional brain can't answer that.
That's so true.
Right?
Yes.
You deal with it all the time.
Yes. And it really depends on the level of the leader, the experience of the leader, because we're all human and we tend to react just naturally to an uncomfortable situation, and emotions take over.
Yes.
When calmer heads really should prevail. Like let's take a moment to
absolutely
calm down.
This is Coach Cora, host of the People Playbook with Dawn Cunningham on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, discussing her question of communicating in a way to build bridges, not walls. And we just summarized with ways to level set on what our outcome is first, because then we can move into the problem-solving mode. And the other question, and it's such a great technique. Earlier in my years as a communication coach, I got to work and train 911 operators.
Wow.
And that's a basic skill because people call up so emotion, and I need to get them out of their emotional state and into a rational state to get the information they need from them. Yeah. And 911 operators are phenomenal at that. And we can hear people, right? They go back into that emotional. You have to ask a question that only a rational brain can answer. And they have to switch into a different mode. It's phenomenal. And the conversation will go quite differently.
When seconds count, I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah. They're good. They're good. So the next thing is, if I can level set, now I want to start asking some good questions. And I think you do that already probably, right?
Right.
And I think that the questions, what kind of questions have you used in the past that engage them in the conversation, which would be different from questions that gather more information? So there's information gathering, but there's also engaging. What are questions that you've used? Because I know you do this a lot.
Well, if I'm new to an organization or if I'm new to coaching a specific manager, I would ask, what has this happened before? What have they done in the past?
I love that.
And have them tell me.
Yeah.
So they sometimes already have the answer. They just haven't thought about it. Like it hasn't come to mind. Yeah.
What I love about the power of questions, Dawn, is that if I can use questions for them to tell me what they should be doing, if they can tell me where they went wrong or what they needed to correct where they're at, they're totally bought in.
Right.
And so questions become that imaginative way to get them to say it. So creative questions like, if we had, going with our example of, we're getting rid of this person. Like, well, we can't just do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we said, if we brought this person into this room and asked them how they got here, what about their retelling of the situation would be different from what we've already talked about? What would they add to it that we don't already know?
That's really good.
Because now they have to kind of go back and analyze or wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not an emotional question. That's a reflective question.
And put themselves in their shoes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And even a question, you're a performer. If you had a leader that was dissatisfied with your performance, and they were so dissatisfied that they didn't even give you feedback until they show up and say you're fired, what would be your response? Those imagination questions.
That wouldn't be cool at all, because I'm one to coach employees, especially new hires, to let them know you should never have to wonder how you're doing.
Right.
You should get ongoing coaching or feedback from your manager supervisor. And if you're not, it's a two-way street.
Right.
You can ask. You can have those indicators come back to you.
So using an imagination question, if you were to imagine the difference between if you told somebody, hey, you haven't given them feedback and that's your job, how they would receive that versus what would happen if you had not received feedback for something you were doing wrong? What would that feel like?
That's great. Yes.
Do you think that conversation would go different?
It would go different.
Isn't that fascinating?
That puts the same scenario on them if they were to be in their shoes.
Right. And I love when I'm set to present my ideas or my solutions. People are funny, Dawn. If I tell you, you just resist. I don't have to do that just because you said so.
Right.
Right? Like, here's what you need to do. No, I don't. That's what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. People are fascinating. This is why I'm in HR. Yeah.
Right. So we don't intend to build resistance with our solution. Unintentionally, as soon as I start telling you, here's what you need to do, because you've seen it happen, right? And so that's the part of really getting into asking them questions, and they're going to tell you what they did wrong.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And now they're wanting to collaborate, like, oh, I really did something wrong. Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
I would be happy to. And it really changes the dynamic of the conversation.
Right.
Yeah. This is Coach Cora, host of the People Playbook with Dawn Cunningham on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, discussing her question of communicating in a way to build bridges, not walls. And we just talked about the importance of questions in engaging people in that conversation. So, Dawn, in HR, you're required to do a lot of influencing.
Right.
So what are some ways that you have found really help you influence others? Because we agreed telling doesn't always work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's an every ongoing state of mind and being.
Yes.
So just day to day, walking through the halls, interacting with employees, interacting with leaders, executives, customers, stakeholders, how you show up. Your attitude, your smile, your eye contact.
Yeah.
Treating everyone with the same respect.
Absolutely.
So that everyone sees your consistency.
Right.
Because there's nothing that tells on you more when you change your energy based on the audience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're talking differently to your executive than you are the housekeeper.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be noticed immediately.
Yeah.
So this is how I establish a baseline.
Yeah. I love that.
So that my influence, I'm not trying to get more out of one group or another. I'm being consistent with everyone.
And I love what you just described, because I'm going to be the facilitator of the effective conversation. Right?
Right.
I may not be the leader, and I may not be taking a side. I think that's the power of what you just said, and the influence is, I'm not going to walk in and draw a line and now protect my side. That is an influence.
Right.
Influence is I'm going to have influence of the conversation. Because we know so many corporate conversations. A group of leaders come together, there's a problem, and battle lines are drawn over solutions, and the whole meeting becomes about defending your idea.
Yeah, right.
You've been in those meetings.
Exactly.
Influence is the HR that says, hey, can we stop for a minute? Right? That's the influence. Yes. What was our purpose here? What are we trying to solve for? What would happen if we put all of these ideas up against an agreed upon filter? Those kind of things. That's the influence, that I'm going to influence the quality of the conversation. Right?
Not only what we want to happen, but how we want to present ourselves as an organization, as a leadership team. Is this who we want to be?
Right.
You can make whatever decision you want,
right?
But does this stand for how you want this culture to be?
And that's a beautiful question right there, right? Instead of, here's what HR thinks you should do, right? I think what you just said was beautiful. And I think that's the influence. Hey, let's go back. What is our purpose? What do we hope to gain from this? And how is what we're discussing today going to facilitate or block that from happening? That's incredibly powerful. And now people are really listening to you. And you have that presence that says, I'm here to make sure we make good decisions.
What HR gets a bad rap. Some people will think that HR is the decision maker.
Right.
We are not the decision makers. We're the facilitators.
That's right.
So depending on the organization,
that's right.
We could end up looking like the bad guys. Oh, HR said this or said that. But we're taking direction from leadership.
Right.
Policies, procedures, employment law.
Yeah, providing them with insight to make good decisions. So you're influencing. Absolutely. Dawn, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm so glad you came on. If you were to summarize, what would be your key takeaways? Have you found any good techniques to helping bridge that collaborative nature to be an influencer?
Well, wow. Thank you for having me. And this has been very helpful. I often go on autopilot. And so this has helped me to think about being more deliberate and those pauses. My takeaways would be asking the questions, putting the person with the issue in the shoes of who the person is that they're having challenges or what have you. And so I think just taking a pause and asking questions to engage that person. Yeah. Making sure that is part of the conversation.
I love that. Thank you, Dawn, for having the courage to bring this question forward. We walked through first, right? Taking the pause, gaining some clarity. And then you said, being really deliberate, right? What are we trying to accomplish here? And I loved what you said, and using questions to help bring that person into the situation and influence the outcome, right? And instead of building resistance. And that is our play for the day. In the coming weeks, you will hear other real people bringing their workplace questions to the show. They will bring real situations that many of us face every day. We will coach through those questions in practical, respectful, in a just-in-time way. And through these conversations, we will see self-advocacy emerge, ownership, and the steps to helping their leaders lead them more effectively. If you have a question that you are willing to work through on air, go to CoachCora.com and click on I Have a Question. When people use communication techniques that build bridges instead of walls, our organizations benefit in stronger decision-making, stronger teams, and stronger relationships at work. This is Coach Cora here at 9:30 a.m. The Answer on the People Playbook. Tune in next Saturday for our next real question, real person, and real challenge.
And that's the play for today. Leadership is not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to ask better questions, listen deeper, and lead people with clarity and care. Join Coach Cora next week for more real people, real questions, and real coaching, right here on the People Playbook. If you have a real workplace challenge you would like coached through on air, bring it to the People Playbook website at CoachCora.com/People Playbook and click Ask a Question.
The number one way to reduce turnover is to stop promoting people into failure. Often, strong individual contributors are promoted because they're great at the work. So great, we put them right to work to lead others in doing the work. We do more believing they can than training them how. That's why my Emerging Leaders program builds confident, capable leaders across 4 essential competencies: knowing themselves, connecting with others, leading the work, and developing their people. Leadership development does not happen in a classroom. And that is why this program ensures the participant owns their own growth. Their supervisor reinforces the learning every day in a guided process, and the skip level leader ensures alignment and accountability with intention and structure. The result are leaders who are less reactive, more strategic, and better equipped to build capability in others. Are you ready to build your leadership bench? Let's talk. Go to CoachCora.com for more information and to schedule a complimentary discovery call. Let's reduce that turnover.